G'day, bird nerds. How are you? I'm Grant. I'm a bird nerd. This is the Bird Emergency. I'm having a few technical dramas today, but that's nothing out of the ordinary. I also have a guest with me today, and that's Loz here. Hopefully, Loz will head off to his perch, and I've got basically a tree that I found on the ground that I have installed in my studio here, and hopefully Loz will get himself organised and go over there. Now, before we get sort of started, I want to pop this up, and hopefully you can see it. Let's remove me. Pop me back in. That can come off. Hi, folks. Hello on Facebook, hello on YouTube, and hello on Instagram. Can you see, Loz? It's lorikeet breeding season, and this morning I was watching. Oh, there he goes. I was watching lorikeets chasing each other around in the park and being very randy. Loz is also getting quite randy. I had to cut down on some of his food, some of his types of food, so that he would be less frustrated and less aggressive. Give me a thumbs up, or just let me know in the comments if you can hear me fine before we get started. That you can, that I'm loud enough. We'll just do all that stuff, hey? I'll turn up my microphone. That's probably safest bet. Okay, I got a thumbs up. Hello, Naomi. So, Naomi, am I loud enough for you? And hello to anyone else who jumps into Instagram, and I'll keep trying to pop that little Instagram notice up. Okay, what I want to start with today is a video that caught my eye, and in light of the US election results and where the world might be heading, where good on you, Loz, you're coming over again, are you? Where climate policy, biodiversity policy might be heading, trade policy even. I was just wondering if this guy might be onto something. So let's get him up there, and let's make sure it's loud enough. If it's too loud, let me know. If you can't hear it, let me know.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you, Victor. Thank you for organizing the 5th EPC Summit. It is a format which is increasingly important.
It is, of course, President Macron, Emmanuel Macron from France. So thanks, Loz. The dangers of lorikeet ownership is they pull me occasionally, but it's pretty harmless. And this is a EU meeting, and he's got some pretty interesting things to say here. It is being translated, so have a listen. I'll just see, Naomi, maybe you're telling me if you can hear it all right. Yes. Can you hear the video okay, Naomi? That's the other thing I would like you to tell me.
Important. It is a geographical and political Europe where the governments of our people are represented, along with the major cooperation organizations that we have adhered to ourselves. This format does not compete with the EU nor with NATO, but it has its historical cohesion, its political geographical justification. The EPC is made up of different sensitivities but shared interests. I think that it's the right place to represent a greater Europe where history may have divided us in the past, it may have separated us, we may have taken different paths, but if we want to write the future together, the next century, then this is something that I believe in. This strategic geopolitical situation needs to be written, and the time is right for this. War is back on European territory in Ukraine. Tensions and conflicts are ongoing between some member states, Azerbaijan, Armenia, for example. We have societal phenomena that are of threats to our countries, terrorism, even over recent months, and we're all facing illegal migration matters which hinder our societies. And we have open economies that we have built on an open model. We continue to need this. We have climate challenges, environmental, geopolitical challenges to face. We have two blocs, the US on the one hand, China on the other, and first and foremost, they will defend their own interests. We cannot be complacent in the light of international rules. We have to ensure that they are respected. Yesterday, I spoke to the President-elect, Donald Trump, and some of us round this table are familiar with his previous presidency, but I think that our role here within Europe is not to comment on the election of Donald Trump, whether it's good or not good. He is American. He will defend American interests. It's legitimate. It's what he does. But we have to be prepared to defend the interests of Europeans. That is our question, and that must be our priority. Neither as part of a transatlantic relationship that would be naive. We needn't call into question our alliances or narrow our vision in the light of China's and American situation. This is a moment in history which is decisive for us Europeans, and this is the question we face. Do we want to read a history written by others, wars begun by Vladimir Putin, American elections, choices made by China affecting trade and ecology, or do we want to write our own history? We have strong economies. We have countries with sophisticated defense systems, but we represent something. The European Union is 440 million people, 27 countries. Then the European political community is more than 700 million people. If we have faith and trust in what we represent in trade terms, geopolitically, then there is no market of 700 million inhabitants that represents the order of magnitude of value that we represent around this table here. We cannot afford to disappear geopolitically. We can't be a market which follows other economic powers, economic and trade powers. So we have to decide to act, to defend our national and European interests, to believe in our strategic autonomy, our sovereignty, because we don't want to be tributaries. We don't want to be a market that is delegated to others. We don't want others to affect our technical geopolitical choices. We want peace on our territory, prosperity, our democratic model. This is what lies at the heart of the Europe that we've discussed together. As Vladimir said, peace is something that we have to fight for. There are different sensitivities around the table, but I'm deeply convinced that our interests are the same. It is a very important stake that Russia does not win this war. Once again, whatever people round this table think, if Russia wins, this means that we have an imperial power at our borders and we will be signalling that they can be expansionist. And I cannot sit round this table in a tranquil manner and allow that to continue. We need to look at...
So the main part of what I wanted to get out of this speech for us was that point that Europe, the EU is bigger than America in terms of a trade bloc, population basis, and they have the opportunity if the US becomes very isolationist and indeed not interested in any of the common goals of the European community, and I think broadly that would reflect many of the Commonwealth countries. We have the opportunity to band together and just develop our own thing. For Europe, it's their own thing, and they can add the UK in there. But AUKUS is going to really complicate it. I didn't want to get overly political today, even though talking about the COP is political. Can you see Loz there? Let's this is I hope you can hear him. He's having a good time there today. Good on you, Loz. Oh, did you hear that, folks? Loz is the star of the show today. There we are. So, okay, I will get rid of Emmanuel Macron, and we can see if I can find the COP. No, not that one. So there's the COP29 is being held in Azerbaijan, in the capital city Baku. Oh, come on! I've got to get rid of the Guardian. That's just all. Here we are. On day one of the COP, they passed new carbon credit trading rules, and the agreement for the carbon credit trading had been quite controversial, and I think had been delayed from last year's COP. And agreement on the COP rules. I'll get this article up. Let's oh, Loz, come on, buddy, what are you doing? Yeah, so agreement on rules paving way for rich countries to pay for cheap climate action abroad breaks years-long deadlock. Diplomats have greenlit key rules that govern the trade of carbon credits, breaking a years-long deadlock and paving the way for rich countries to pay for cheap climate action abroad while delaying expensive emission cuts at home. I'll do it later. There we go. I'll do it later. The agreement reached late on the first day of COP29 in Azerbaijan was hailed by the hosts as an early win at climate talks that have been snubbed by prominent world leaders and clouded by the threat of US retreat. Don't need the microphone, Loz. From climate diplomacy diplomacy after Donald Trump's victory in the presidential election. But critics have warned the rules were rushed through without following proper process. We welcome this positive momentum, said Mukhtar Babayev, president of COP29, praising a spirit of compromise that I hope will inspire all of our work here in Baku. Can you see that stuffed toy there, the plushie, the lorikeet? I've ordered one of those for Loz to hang out with. The rules deal with some of the final hurdles to creating a system in which countries can buy credits for removing or avoiding planet heating pollution in other parts of the world. For instance, by planting trees or saving rainforests, and count the progress towards their own emissions target. The agreement is expected to provide the clarity needed to trade emissions within a global carbon market supervised by the UN that would be open to companies as well as countries. A separate article on the trade of carbon credits between individual nations will be addressed later in the COP29 negotiations. Carbon markets are a polarising force in climate policy. Supporters say they help direct crucial funds to saving the planet, while critics point to the tattered history of fraudulent and harmful projects, particularly in the voluntary carbon market that some companies have enthusiastically embraced, that have eroded trust in the concept and calls for stricter rules. I'm definitely one of those people that is sceptical about carbon credit trading as being the major mechanism to reduce emissions. Efforts to agree on carbon market rules, known in COP jargon as Article 6, have been a persistent stumbling block in UN talks to stop the planet from heating. Diplomats at the last climate talks rejected proposals from a UN supervisory body that was tasked with recommending solutions for countries to debate. This year, with pressure to make progress on carbon markets riding high, the group took a different approach and adopted new standards on methods and removals while recommending the COP29 negotiators give it the green light. Issa Mulder, a policy expert in the non-profit group Carbon Market Watch, said that adopting the rules the first day of the summit without discussion undermined trust in the UN climate conference process. Kicking off COP29 with a backdoor deal sets a poor precedent for transparency and proper governance, Issa said. The rules are expected to reduce the risk of double counting emissions, a big concern of critics, and include stronger safeguards to protect human rights. But the text also leaves many unanswered questions, such as how to deal with projects whose carbon saving successes face a risk of reversal. Let's get to that. Olga Gasson-Zard, a former chair of the Article 6 supervisory body and one of its current members, said the new standards were robust, but added, the criticisms of the process are fair, and it was also critically important to operationalise Article 6.4 as soon as possible to scale up the delivery of carbon finance to the developing world. Critics of carbon markets have pointed to a history of offset projects over-promising and under-delivering, with wildfires burning through forests that were supposed to be protected and emissions from renewable energy projects being counted on balance books, even though they would probably have been built anyway. Erica Lennon, an attorney at the Centre for International Environmental Law, said, we've seen over and over again how carbon markets are not doing what they claim to be doing, as well as market projects that violate people's rights. If they don't have strong rules in place to present all of the abuses, it can totally undermine the integrity of the Paris Agreement. Okay, come on, over here. There we go. Come on, Loz. Loz won't go over on his tree today, and he's got a big chunk of apple over there waiting for him. So that's the first part of COP29. But let's have a look. There's a couple of articles that are worthwhile. Another article from The Guardian, who's... Oh, don't go up there, Loz. Come on. Go on. Yeah. Over you go. You can fly over. Go on. Carbon credit trade rules. We've already done that. Let's have a look at the key events on day one. Diplomats greenlit key rules to govern the trade of carbon credits. We just talked about that. Year 2024 is on track to be the warmest year on record after an extended streak of exceptionally high monthly global mean temperatures, average temperatures, the World Meteorological Organization said. Oh no, there's an alarm going off. I hope you can hear that. That's outside somewhere. Car alarm. There we go. It's off now. US climate envoy John Podesta said the climate fight will not stop under new President Donald Trump. Oh, yes? Tell me more. Windfall super profits from oil companies totaled $500 billion in a single year. It's just insane, isn't it? What's going on? A hyper-realistic dead beach whale drew attention in Baku. I think that was projected onto screens. And a UN climate scientist, Simon Stiell, told the conference, "What inspires me is human ingenuity and determination, our ability to get knocked down and get up again over and over again until we accomplish our goals." And this is really the thing I wanted to talk about. Let me come back here. That sounds like an uplifting quote, but he's talking about humanity. He's not talking about biodiversity as a whole. And I think so much of the coverage and the conversation is not talking about biodiversity, and it's upsetting me. I'll just have a look at a few more of the and when we get some of the coverage from other groups, Health Policy Watch, Independent Global Health Reporting. Good on you, Loz. Their headline is Roads Ruin, Nations Clash Over Multi-Trillion Climate Bill as COP29 opens. There's 40,000 people involved in this. 40,000 delegates' flights streamed into Baku's airport over the weekend. Battle lines were drawn on the opening day of COP29 in the Azerbaijani capital as developing countries, let's get rid of that, demanded wealthy nations commit trillions of dollars to combat the climate crisis. The high-stakes climate mega-conference launched on Monday, just weeks after its less prominent sibling, the UN Biodiversity Summit in Cali in Colombia, that collapsed in disarray over the same fundamental question: who should pay to save the planet, how much, and by when? And I didn't cover the Biodiversity Summit, the UN Biodiversity Summit, because it depressed me so much, and I hadn't really gathered my thoughts, and I thought I would get someone to interview to talk about it, and I'm still trying to do that. Negotiators must now agree on a new global climate finance target by 2025, a deadline set under the Paris Agreement to replace the current 100 billion annual pledge that wealthy nations promised in 2009, but have met just once. The new framework, known as the New Collective Quantified Goal, sits at the heart of talks, earning Baku the moniker Finance COP. Now, Trump has pledged to pull out of the Paris Accords. So we're going through all of this, and in a couple of months' time, it might all have to be rejigged again. With climate disasters wreaking trillions in damage worldwide, COP29 is a final opportunity for nations to align on this crucial financing ahead of the end of the year deadline. Yet countries remain deadlocked on nearly every detail of how to deliver it. We must be totally honest. Current policies are leading up to the 3 degrees warming of temperatures that would be catastrophic for billions. COP29 President Mukhtar Babayev, an Azerbaijani's Minister of Ecology. Azerbaijan's got a Minister of Ecology. And what have we got in Australia? He told delegates as procedures opened in Baku, citing recent findings from the UN Environment Programme that pointing to a 3.1 Celsius rise in average temperatures by the century's end. We're on the road to ruin, he said. Whether you see them or not, people are suffering in the shadows. They need more than prayers and paperwork. Last year's Dubai summit managed what seemed impossible through 3 decades of climate talks, getting nations to name the transition away from fossil fuels the root of the climate crisis, as necessary to avoid the worst impacts of a warming planet. In Baku, the bare minimum breakthrough faces its first stress test, yet hopes raised by the opening ceremony of seizing a historic moment to keep warming within 1.5 quickly gave way to a familiar deadlock, wording disputes delaying the opening plenary by 6 hours. We must do today what yesterday we thought was impossible. We are setting these expectations because we believe they are absolutely necessary. This is a race for our lives. And there's the graph that no one should forget. That's the average temperature rising. Okay. It's a bit depressing. One of the conflicts in all of these negotiations is whether wealthy nations will loan the rest of the world, the developing world, the money to move into new technologies, new climate-friendly technology and new climate-friendly industries, or whether they will be grants. And loaning them is just another form of colonialism. That's my view anyway. All right, I'm going to play an Al Jazeera video here, just about the opening of the COP. So you read all the articles and it all sounds really positive. But when you see coverage from a news outlet that is, not in the club, I'll play that again. These are all nations that have not turned up. Let's listen to that again. Get it back here. Oh, Naomi, you're telling me you can't hear that. Okay, that's a bit of a worry. Okay, that is a shame. Um, okay, okay. I think what I'm going to do is it's got me all depressed now. And if you can't hear the videos, well, then we'll just uh, let's just try this. This is the BBC. Let's see if you can hear this one. And if you can't, I'll turn it. I'll pull the volume up. Let me know, Naomi, if you can hear this one. Can you hear that one, Naomi? No, can't hear it. Okay, well, we'll just pull the pin on that. That's disappointing. Okay, that is disappointing. I do have a couple of warnings up on my screen, so obviously there's a drama with that. So we'll get rid of that. What else I want to? We've done the Emmanuel Macron. Um, so that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about, other than um, workshop with you the kind of idea. I mean, so many countries haven't even turned up for the start of COP, including the US, India, China, Russia. I think they said Germany. So you got to wonder how seriously anybody is taking the whole thing. Um, where where do we go? Do we just start focusing on our own backyard? Um, I'm I'm at a loss. I've been at a loss for a while now about this. Um, my real concern from an Australian point of view is that there's just no coverage anywhere unless you're already in the climate action and biodiversity kind of bubble. Nothing gets out into the mainstream. So that's kind of going to be my mission for the next 12 months to try and get out into the mainstream. You can help me with that uh, by sharing and liking and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to make a lot more shorter uh, videos, a lot more clips going out onto using the Reels and TikTok and YouTube Shorts and stuff. So if you're on those platforms, please share if you think things are worthy of sharing. Uh, Now, just a quick thing, Naomi. tell me, I know you were back, have just got back from your trip away. Did you check out the? We were chatting about that idea of plants as part of the membership. Let me know if you had read that post. If not, I'll go over it. I've already got quite a bit of the seed. This morning I've been out collecting seed while I was collecting flowers. What I do every morning, I'll have to go and find some fresh flowers or fruit or something for Loz here, and I've wherever I see on places where it's okay for me to collect seed, I do, and I've been collecting it and getting it ready. So we're going to have about probably about 50 varieties of plants over the next year that I'll be able to dispatch out to people. I got a lot of delightful Callistemon violaceus seed today, and be sowing that in the next little while. But do let me know if you had checked out the post on Buy Me a Coffee. Oh, by the way, I rejigged that. Tell me if this is too loud. Remember, oh, Naomi, I can relate to that. What I've done is I'll make sure you can get in on the date I set. But for anyone who takes up that membership, I'm going to double the amount of plants for November, and I'll write another blog post and put it out with listing what I'm collecting, and then you can get an idea of maybe requesting what you would. Oh, don't bite me there. What you would like. So, and for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, I'll play this little video. Naomi, please tell me if this is too loud. Remember when it was too loud a while ago? I've rejigged it. Oh, it looks like there's no sound now. What's going on? I turned the sound down. Remember the explosion was too loud? I didn't hear it at all. Anyway, I was just going through I can see it on Instagram at the moment. Yeah, so let's get I've got an overlay somewhere, haven't I, for that? No. Anyway, thebirdemergency.com/coffee. All right. I'm going to pull the pin. That's I'd prepared to play a number of things, and it looks like the computer's not going to let us. Yeah. Yeah, that was annoying, wasn't it? Couldn't hear any of that. So yeah, I've got a lot of. If you hadn't, that's the other thing I wanted to tell you. If you hadn't caught the interviews with Hugh Possingham, the most recent one about the Biodiversity Council in Australia, and the one I did in 2022. Really introducing Hugh to Bird Emergency audience and talking about his career, how he became what he is today. You can get both of those on YouTube. There's an easy link to find them both, rather than scrolling forever through the feed. thebirdemergency.com/Hugh HUGH will find those for you. Yes, so I've got a lot to do organising on the computer for us to get the members only, Dawn Chorus, everything else up happening. So best use of my time now is to nick off. Thanks, Naomi, for joining us. Thanks for all the anonymous people who popped in, the Instagrammers again, and we'll catch up with you soon. Naomi, you don't need to tell us this on the stream, but send me a message. Let me know how you're going with your hip. So, okay. Hello, everyone.